figure out who's all here.
Just us in the room. Ken Rice is not.
Okay. All right, but we still have enough. Okay. All right, so we're going to call the meeting to order. Can we go through roll call, please?
Monica Isham.
Here.
Julia Lyons. Grant Gerber. Andy Alvarado.
Here.
Mike Weller. Tweed Schuman. Doug Marotek.
Here.
Bruce Poquette.
Here.
Katie Bellinger. John Yackel. Mark Helwig.
Here.
Elaine Smith.
Here.
Marshall Sabitsky.
Here.
Kathy McCoy. Bill Trepanier. You have a quorum.
Thank you. If everyone could please rise, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can we have certification of compliance with the open meetings law, please?
This meeting was noticed to the public and the news media as required by Section 19.84 of Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Everyone have an opportunity to review today's agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes that anyone would like to make? Okay, I'm not hearing any. And I always forget all of this because I'm on 3 boards. So, and everybody does everything differently. Do we take motions on that approval of the agenda or not? No, okay. Some do. All right, any public comment? Well, I'm surprised. I'm just kidding. All right, let's move on. Consider the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those? Are there any changes that need to be made?
Move approval of the minutes. Second.
It's a race. All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes by Mr. Alvarado and a second from the sheriff. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's move on to the jail report update.
I can do that. Or I can pull it up on the screen.
Yeah, let's pull it up.
I'm gonna have to replace that one. It's not attached. I'll pull it
Did we
up,
not
though.
get one?
No, but I have it from the public safety agenda though.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
Oh, great.
So they provided the end of year report for the jail. You can see how the average daily population total has gone down the last 3 years. I think we're all encouraged by that. And then average probation incarceration, about 30% of our jail. Pre-sentence was about half, and then sentenced is about 17%. 2 on bracelet, and our population as of the day of the report was below 60, actually 57. Unemployment rate still runs fairly high. And you can see where the inmates are located.
Right.
We are including race back in the report as a potential condition of the CJCC MOU that we have with LCO. And then our male and female split. Now, Sheriff, any comments?
Nothing additionally well done.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could share that with all of us so we get a copy.
Sure.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay.
Nice to see the waiting court at the number that it is.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting through stuff. I think we had a very, very crazy day yesterday, but we resolved a lot of cases yesterday. So
Is there an
That's good.
actual measurement that the court produces, like days to trial or benchmarking that?
yes,
Is there-
I will figure that out. I will figure it out how to get to you. And I know that, I think it's annually, the district does a report too, to see cases that are coming in and going out and things like that. So I might be able to, get us that information. Let me look into it. Okay, if there's, nothing else, then we can move on to the criminal justice coordinator. Oh,
Right? I have that.
okay, so you're wearing a lot of hats today.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Just get it. There we go. So I can just point out that Becky, along with Lieutenant Wooler and Julia Lyons, were all supposed to be in Washington at a Building Bridges conference as part of that grant that we're receiving. But they actually had that conference canceled at the last minute, so they're all doing it virtually right now. And because they're on East Coast time, it's running during the noon hour here. So that's why they're not here. So Becky did provide me with a report for Justice Point's work. They have 102 pretrial cases, 17 waitlist letters have been sent out and awaiting response. And then we have one person on the waitlist at this time. Diversion has 8 individuals with 28 referrals pending. 9 are part of the treatment court, but there are 2 pending terminations. Deflection is up and running. 2 peer system navigators hired as of December 23rd, and 1 coordinator. 12 jail programs are in place, 6 GED completions for the 24-25 school year thus far. They are trying to hire 2 new case management positions. Interviews are scheduled for next week. And this is probably pointing this out for me, but office space, case managers are currently sharing 1 office space. And to be most effective with their caseloads, they need to have separate offices. So they're staggering appointments. I'll just say that as soon as the hallway down that corridor is complete to the DA's satisfaction, they'll start working on dividing up the child support. They'll be dividing up we're shifting child support is moving out of one of their office spaces where the Justice Point is now. And we'll be creating offices, 3 more offices in that area, so there'll be 5 total in that corner where child support is now. So it's been a long time coming. Slowly, we're working through a number of projects around the building, so.
If it weren't for that darn DA, it'd be done by now.
Oh,
Just kidding. I don't know anything about this, but it
No.
sounds like a great idea.
no, we had we had stripped the hallway down and we needed to get it to, I think it's institutional gray or something like that. It's going to be painted,
Oh, that's what it's called, the color?
something like that.
You know, the jails are painted.
I think that's the fad, though. Everybody does gray now, gray and white. So weird.
I think the DA caught us in the hall one day and was concerned we were leaving it the way it.
Well, cool. I think that's a good idea, shifting around those spaces to.
Yep, so that's, yeah, we know they need that space for them to work with multiple clients and have confidentiality, and they still maintain a space over in the sheriff's department, so they have access to people who are incarcerated.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Tribal office too, yep. All right, if there's nothing else, we can move on to Health and Human Services report.
I do not have all of Health and Human Services, so maybe Andy does. Narcan distribution is pretty much going the same, just some peer recovery updates. They are now meeting with clients from transitions. They're also creating a letter for OB providers so that we can start working with pregnant clients who are using. They are looking around the community for another location to put in a locks box, which is essentially just a box on the wall or the floor that has free Narcan. So you don't have to do anything. You just go and grab a box. And then in January, we're planning to meet with the jail to get a better streamlined process for Brittany to the other peer recovery specialist, to meet with jail inmates for peer services. We did complete the vaping survey at LCO and Winter Schools. Hayward School is going to be giving their vaping survey, I think, the end of February, beginning of March. So after that, we'll be able to compile all of the results. The plan is to push those results out to parents and the community so that they know. And I think I've stated before, we're going to be doing a vaping presentation at Hayward and Winter Schools, middle, end of March, first part of April. Yeah,
Hey, is that messaging system still being used?
no. Not to the best of my knowledge. That's a good question. I don't know when each contract started for LCO and for Winter.
Yeah, I know Hayward's
Not
school
going to do it.
system never did it at all, correct?
No, they did not do it at all. So.
Yeah.
Other news, we have created 4 new billboards, so they will be going up sometime in the next couple of weeks. I just gave you a short little picture of each one. And we're focusing now more on not just fentanyl. We still will have a fentanyl board up, but just addiction and supporting sober living in general. And this time we're actually including alcohol. So we know from the emergency department that the majority of people coming in with substance use is alcohol in our community. So we will be not focusing on that yet, but at least throwing it out there a little bit. So with the vaping, our plan is we're going to have a billboard contest with the kids. And so they'll get a cash prize, but middle and high schools, so there'll be 4 first prizes, and those will actually be our billboards, whatever they come up with for designs, if they participate.
Okay.
So.
With the vaping also, you said that, so the survey information is going to be pushed out. What all is in that? Is it like a percentage or a number of people who are
It'll
saying?
probably be percentages.
Okay.
But we're asking them, do you currently vape? Have you ever vaped? What have you vaped? Because we did a little mini survey and found out that 30% of the teenage respondents had actually used meth in their vapes.
You can put meth in a vape?
You can put anything in a vape. You can put anything in a vape. Yeah. So, and that's where the fentanyl scare comes in with vapes.
Oh, so sketchy.
Yeah.
Okay, and from just court numbers alone, I mean, that could be, yeah, I'm not gonna make anybody do this task, but, because it would probably take a while to just count how many citations to juveniles go out with vaping citations. I get them every week.
Yeah, and I mean, we knew this was an issue, but I think it was last year or the year before, we started getting information that they were actually having kids as young as 3rd grade vaping in school. Yeah, so our education program in March is going to be to middle and high school. That's where we're starting. Our plan is next fall, if we can work it out with the schools, we would like to focus on the little kids for Red Ribbon Week for vaping. So, yeah.
Wow, I'm actually a little taken aback by all of that. I mean, I know I see, obviously, unfortunately, every week these cases, and they're just younger and younger, and I'm shocked every time. Underage drinking at 12. I'm like, what are you doing? I was playing with Barbies. I don't. So I get that that's probably real, but it still makes my jaw drop a little bit.
Yeah, and the difficult part with the surveys is there's a I don't know what it stands for, YRBS survey that's done every couple of years in the schools. The Hayward school system only had a 16% response rate, so it gives us no information.
Sure.
And the information that we're getting so far from the schools, we know all of the kids are not being honest.
Well,
Right?
yeah.
Even though it's a survey monkey, it's completely anonymous. I could never tie it back to them
Right.
unless I'm some IT genius, which I am not. But we do ask them in there, do your parents know that you vape? Are they okay with you vaping? Because we also want to provide some of that information to parents. So the hard part isn't so much the education of the kids. That we can have a captive audience. The hard part is educating the adults.
Which is what my concern is with the information that's going to go out to them, because it's probably going to be skewed toward the lesser end of the reality. And I don't know if that's going to grab people as much as it
Right.
would if it were the reality.
Yep, and so part of that push out is going to be adult education.
Yeah.
So it's not just going to be the data, but we're also going to be, that's about the only way we can think of to get their attention is to send it home from school. So we can't get them all in a room to talk to them about it.
But we could, couldn't we? I mean, why can't the school do an assembly or an informational, I don't know, we used to have to sit through those all the time.
We do with the kids. With the kids, yeah. I mean, and that's what I mean. We can have a captive audience with the kids. That's what we're
Yeah,
going to
but
be
you
doing.
mean like
as an
the
assembly.
parents couldn't be?
Parents is the
Yeah.
difficult part, to get them to show up, to actually
Let me
learn.
think on that.
So, yeah,
I feel like there's a way.
I know. Well, good luck. Yeah, even when we tried it with fentanyl, it.
Right.
You just don't get a huge, yes, people are very interested, and the people that do show up learn a lot,
Yeah.
but getting them there is the
And
difficult
a
part.
lot of parents are just naive to the fact that their kid could be doing anything. But then on the other side, there's parents who know and are digging through bags looking for things
Right.
and every day doing that. And it's exhausting because it's just so easy for them to get more.
Well, and here's the real scary part about kids and vaping specifically, and not even just adults. So when kids are getting vapes, they are not going into the local store to buy them because they can't.
Right.
Right? So they are getting them online or through friends who are making them. And that's where the fentanyl scare comes in. So because you don't know where that stuff is coming from.
That was my question, yeah.
Yeah,
If you-
and
Where are
that's-
they getting it from?
Yeah, that's our fear. And we know not to even ask that question. I do know a few kids in the area who have, received vaping citations, and I've talked to them, and they just will not tell us where they're getting it from. Some are from their friend, from their brother or sister, mom or dad, but I don't know where the majority of them are getting them. We just don't know. So, yeah, that's the scary part.
Yeah, I just had a couple things.
Sure.
This is a grant-funded initiative, right? And so isn't that age group like 10 to 16? So you're kind of restricted to.
No,
age
the
group?
vaping is actually coming out of the opioid settlement dollars.
Okay, so
So,
you're not restricted for that age group? then?
no, and that's why we want to push down to the younger kids.
Yeah, the younger the better.
Yeah, because even the different lung associations, when they do education, it's really to the older kids. Last year, their focus really was on college kids, which can be frustrating to us because my attitude is we need to start young on this. And they're adults and they've made some decisions, and yes, you can educate them, but you're going to continue to have that problem unless you stop it over here in the younger ages. So,
We had a lot of vaping citations from the LCO school. And what I do is I talk to them about, do they understand what vaping does to their young lungs, that it can create holes in your lungs? And I make them write a paper, and then they have to file it with the court. And then if they do all that and stay clean or stay out of trouble, then we'll dismiss the citation. But what amazes me is I have this he's cute as can be. He's in 7th grade, but he's real small and he's really adorable looking. But he's got an older brother and he follows the big guys around all the time. And he's had like 5 or 6 citations. And they both live with grandma, and grandma doesn't know what to do with them. And it's really very
So hard.
sad that he.
yeah, our presentation, we learned from the fentanyl presentation. Our presentation really has a major focus on what it does to their bodies. And especially that you can vape now and you can quit now. And in 15 years, you can still get emphysema because of the damage you're doing to your lungs now. So we're really focusing on the physical aspect of it and, losing sports and activities with friends and only want to hang out with people who vape and kind of the consequences of vaping more than just don't do it.
There are a lot of adults who
Uh-huh.
vape also now. It's illegal now on the reservation, so I always point that out too. A lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
And if the parent or guardian is in the courtroom, I'll also have a little educational moment with them as well. But yeah, it's really awful.
No, I love that.
I'm
The,
not writing a letter to you, Judge.
Write it. I'm
No,
gonna put
the-
together a
the adults-
PowerPoint. We're gonna play it on
A
the
research
screen.
paper. I want to say research
right,
paper.
but you have to understand the adults, I mean, when vaping first came out, it was sold as a way to quit smoking,
Yeah,
as a safe way to quit smoking.
Yeah.
Right? But if you actually compare what's been going on with vaping compared to what happened to tobacco, I mean, when I was growing up, tobacco was okay. I remember smoking in a hospital. So, it was okay. Just like vaping is now. And
right.
it took how many years for everybody to figure out that they actually knew the dangers and they were lying. And my point is this exact same thing is happening with vaping. So it's just, they call it e-cigarette for a reason. It's still a cigarette. So,
Yeah. That's good.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Two questions, one for the sheriff. Excuse me. Now, say if someone purchases vapes for underage kids, is there are they breaking the law, like say contributing to a minor type of thing? I'm sure they're breaking the law, but what's the?
To be honest with you, some of those laws are in the works. Some of it's by ordinance. And I think this is kind of a new process where legislation really hasn't done a lot with it yet. And I think there's a lot of things in the works here.
So currently, there really isn't anything on the books as far as contributing to a minor or anything like that.
I
Might be
think
pretty hard to
e-cigarette.
prove.
what we have now is more by ordinance.
Okay. Second, are these the billboards going up?
Mhm.
I like them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any more questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you for bringing down the party. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, but wow. So I mean, I'm like third grade?
One question I heard, is it illegal to vape on the reservation? Anyone?
Yes,
Anyone?
yes. Feel like there's more to that. Ignorance of the law is not a defense. It was actually, I remember that. There was something in the paper about that a long time ago. But yeah, that's banned on the reservation.
Just not to go down the rabbit hole, but legally, how does that, like, is it the action of vaping or is it possessing a pen or the inserts or?
There's a guy called Tal Volkov, and he publishes a newsletter every month, and you can find out all the latest and greatest ways that people hide their drugs.
But what's the illegal part is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, the citation can come from any of those things.
Any of those
So you
things,
have,
okay.
you have it on you, you're caught doing it, you're, any of those things.
Okay.
Right. Mhm. Right. Yeah. Okay, well, yikes. Let's move on then to the youth justice update. Which I don't think they're here, are they?
Putting up.
Oh, you're wearing that hat too, okay.
Let's keep looking at the Zoom. This is the most current report is from November. Things have, I don't want to say, they will not be happy if I say slowed down, maybe plateaued. There was a significant amount of activity over the summer.
Mhm.
None of those cases are still ongoing. You can see there's 35 ongoing, 2 pending in court. And we have a couple of our caseworkers that are 13 to 16 is probably a full load. Deferred ongoing supervision for 11 cases, one JIPS order, which is juvenile and Youth protective services, 2 that are pending. Go back here to our county placements. We have 2 individuals still, Lincoln Hills or Mendota, youth justice, 2 in Northwest Passage, 1 in residential care, 1 in program. No, from a financial standpoint, all those out of county placements this year really, we're 1,000%, literally 1,000% of the budget here because we've not had that type of out of county placement historically. This year's budget now has been adjusted. Has put a crimp in the human services budget. Start addressing some things that were not being addressed. The other part of their report last night was talking about their work with truancy. I think they're making some inroads with the school and getting notice of the
10-day drops.
10-day drops now. I think prior to cultivating some work in this area, 10-day drops, those students were just falling off.
Falling through the cracks, basically. They would just not show up to school and then be dropped, and then nobody's checking.
And you probably know the truths.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday, I was in a meeting with Hutchinson and Sarah I
Yep.
can't say her last name, and then
Berquist.
Miss Mann.
Was Berquist in that meeting? No?
Miss Mann was in it. And so we were talking about that and what I see in tribal court and what's happening out in Sawyer County. And so the focus is on those children that are caught up in that 10-day drop,
Yep.
that mandatory 10-day drop. And one of the things that we talked about was that you really need to educate the parents because parents don't understand that education is important. And I'll have the same kids in there all the time.
Yeah.
Same families, it's like generational sometimes. And it's, so I think if the TGB maybe uses some of their money to use that guy Tran,
Mhm.
maybe to do some billboards around the reservation to kind of hype up education is important, stay in school, you know, those type of
Mhm.
mottos, maybe it would help a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as truancy goes, they are the grant, the program is starting with the 10-day drops because those are clearly the cases that are most of an emergent kind
Yeah,
of
and
case.
nothing's happening.
Right. Right. So, and we just started. So this month we just started. And I've been doing some referrals for those. And then, but there would still be citations issued if it's a first offense. And if they're not a child who falls within the age of 10 to 16. But if they are a child who falls within that age and it's not the first offense, then they would go directly to YJ, to the truancy deferral program. They would not come in front of the court. So it immediately connects the family to those resources rather than putting them through the court process until and unless they've tried everything else. So I think that that's going to really help in those areas. It's not going to, stop it altogether. But I mean, we do have truancy cases where, it's one absence that tips them over the edge and they're going to school, they've got good grades. It's just, whatever it is. And sometimes those ones are, they show up and just dismissed.
But there are a lot of parents who don't.
But there are
They hesitate
a
who
lot of
to take away the phone at night or.
Yeah, and a
so
lot
the
of
kid can't
kids
get up.
will say they're going to school, or parents who leave before their kids go to school and they don't know whether or not the kids go to school.
Yeah.
So I
All
think
sorts of
that this program is going to help significantly. I think it's going to do a lot. So I'm really excited. Today was my intake day, my first intake day for that today. So I just referred a couple today. So we'll see how it goes, but I think it's going to be great.
Good.
Okay. All right. Anything else on youth justice? Nope. Okay. All right, let's go on to community services updates. Anything? What did I do? Oh, go ahead.
I made a note on the agenda to add the NACO peer exchange selection. We really didn't talk about it here ahead of time. I kind of decided with the chair and co-chair that we should apply for this. So that NACO is the National Association of Counties. Annually, they conduct a peer exchange selection where you apply and they select. This year, it's up to 8 CJCCs from NACO counties to participate. So we applied. There was some criteria that seemed like it fit well for us. You were supposed to be with like less than 5 years old. And I know the CJCC has been around here longer than 5 years, but I think this iteration of it is about at 5 years when the MOU with the tribe went in place. And I just felt like we're at a good place, I mean, as far as how things have evolved, and now is a good time to, one, even though we didn't ask for it, we're getting some recognition in the press for the progress that's been made, but it's also like what's next. I think accountability is going to ratchet up, like we're stacking a lot of programs and grants on, I'll come back to that. But anyway, we applied, we were selected. We are going to be sending Julia and Judge Smith as representatives, our CJCC next month. It's in Arapahoe County, Colorado, which I think is essentially Denver. Yep, so it's like a 2-day exchange. They'll get to see how Arapahoe County, they'll sit in on their meetings, but also exchange what we're doing and find out what others are doing in those other 8 counties. So, and that costs are paid for, majority of the cost, travel, lodging, all that's paid for by NACO.
Nice. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, just, if there's anything specific that you want Julia and I to talk about, just let us know. Points that you might want us to bring up or.
Yeah, and I'm kind of going back to the stacking of things. I kind of want to get a 1-pager together for you guys
Okay.
of where we're at, because we really don't have a 1-pager right now. What I mean by that is, again, going back to when I started, and when CJCC 5 years ago, I think the emphasis was on second courtroom, pretrial. We had a full jail and people not getting to court. So but things have evolved now. In the last few years, we have the pretrial still ongoing, the TAD grant. We've got diversion and treatment court up and running. Now we have a grant for deflection and giving our law enforcement some tools. And then we brought human services into the fold and they're getting grants for youth justice. And we're really all responsible for keeping track of all that. And I don't know that in my own head, I don't have it. So I think I'm going to try to get it on
Okay.
1 page, all the things that are ongoing.
A good idea.
You guys have it, and then we have it here too.
I
So
like
if
it.
you see an email from me asking for what you're doing and where the money's coming from, that's what it's about.
Okay.
Sure. All right. Well, that's good. I think that'll be, I think that peer exchange will be good. I wish I could have gotten to that. All right. Now we can go on to community services updates.
Nothing really new. They do have a guy going through training to start running the Timber Bay house there. In fact, I think he's going with the Timber Bay people from Birchwood area on a outing this week with them and stuff, but going through a lot of that. So that should be up and going here pretty quick. I think there's an open bed over at House of Hope. Other than that, things are just kind of going through the works, going through the motions right now. Nothing too substantial to celebrate about, but nothing bad either. So
Great. That's okay.
Yeah.
When you have an open bed at House of Hope, then you go to the ones that have applied, but they're kind of pending?
Yeah, they
Okay.
kind of, yeah, and sometimes they have guys actually like just waiting in line too, or there might be some that are in jail that are coming out soon, so they might hold a spot if they've been in communication, working with them in the jail and stuff like that. So they're constantly looking at it because obviously it's a daily struggle for the guys that are in there anyways too, so.
Yeah. Are there 8 total beds?
No, there's 4 total beds
4,
over there.
okay. Be nice if there were 8.
Yeah, yeah, they would be filled up immediately, I'm sure.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I just had a question. Does anybody know what's going on with the warming house
We,
situation or where we're at with that or what's happened?
we're raising funds. We're trying to buy the house across the street from Salvation Army there. But even buying it, it needs a lot of work.
Yeah,
Then,
I knew.
one, just for the condition of the house, and then 2, to become what we would need it to be. But that's, so we're in the process of trying to get to about $170,000, I think is what we'll need for purchasing the house. But it's just a good location because one, Salvation Army finds out a lot about the homeless and things, and then it's in town, it's close, it's easy to get to, and
Too bad
You
the
know,
market's
not-
not better.
huh?
I said, too bad the market isn't better.
Yeah, yeah,
So expensive. I mean, that's.
yeah. It's not a very
outrageous.
nice house for 100 and
That's outrageous.
and still gonna need work too. Yeah,
Yeah. Right, right, yeah.
Yeah. It's there's not much else that should really be going for. So, but that's what we're working at and shooting for right now.
Great.
With
It's a
that.
good location.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
Otherwise,
ideal.
we're that safe place is still, you know, you can still get a hold of us, and we're trying with, you know, vouchers to get people to buses, or, you know, trying to get them to places where they need to be. You know, maybe some of them just need that ride home.
Mhm.
You know, they could be from another state or something like that. So we do take people to, you know, the bus in Eau Claire or Duluth and stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Good. Any other questions for Graham? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Future agenda items. Will we have this meeting before you go to Colorado, or would it be after? It would be after, so should we put that on the agenda and update, or, well, I suppose it would already be included in the correspondence and reports from conferences and meetings, so probably don't need to add it. But, yeah, maybe if you and Julia can kind of let us know during that part. But does anybody have any other ideas?
Is there anybody that could come from they formed a nonprofit now, right? The warming,
Yeah, I'm on the board.
you're on the board? Okay, so you're it, so you can, Okay.
It's such a holding pattern without having an actual house or
That's
a
what-
place, you know, there's not, we have few coming here and there that, but again, all we can really do is we have blankets or coats and stuff like that we can give them, or we try getting them to places. We, you know, have funds that will put them up in a hotel here or there, but a lot of the hotels aren't very welcoming to that anymore either.
And do you take donations for all of that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And we,
Are you advertising that you take donations?
it's, again, it's tricky being advertising because we don't want people thinking that we're advertising, hey,
Right,
homeless,
that's
come
true. I
here.
remember
True.
this conversation.
Yeah, it's so
True.
it's
That makes
it's not
sense.
very fun sitting on a board for a homeless shelter and stuff like that because your hands get kind of tied when you're,
I can imagine.
yeah. So
Well,
I mean, but thankfully, you know, during the summer it helped. I went around to garage sales and picked up everything that was left over, and we found places that we could take that, and we get paid by the pound for clothing and books and things like that. And
Okay.
but
Where are you keeping everything?
we have a couple of storage units.
Okay.
Yoder's had given us one for free for a while, and then we're paying for one out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Well, I just, because I think there's more of a homeless population than people realize because
Yeah.
we did the little Operation Christmas program that I do every year, and people are living in their cars.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't think about it, but
We had somebody living in a storage facility.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think people don't see it, you don't think about it as much
Right.
as
No.
it's
Well, or,
really
you know,
out there.
there a lot of it is people staying on a friend's couch or,
Yeah.
you know, and they
Mhm.
bounce from a house to a house, but they're
Yeah.
homeless walking around with their backpack.
Sad.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, correspondence reports from conferences and meetings. Maybe we should move that above future agenda items on the agenda. It just feels a little weird to go back into business after asking for agenda items. Can we move that from now on? I'm sorry, I'm so annoying. Thank you. Okay, does anybody have anything else? Did I really? Oh, that was outside committee updates. I'm sorry. Did we have any of those? Okay. All right, then we are to adjournment. And again, I don't remember, do we take a motion to adjourn? No? Okay, we're adjourned.